I was washing the parlour floor when I heard my stepmother's voice slice through the afternoon heat. "Praise! Praise! Come here now!" I dropped the rag into the bucket and wiped my hands on my faded wrapper. My heart was already beating fast. That tone. I knew that tone. It meant visitors were coming. I hurried into the kitchen where she stood by the window, peering through the curtain. Her face was tight with something that looked like panic, though she tried to hide it behind her usual mask of control. "Someone is coming," she said, not looking at me. "A man in a black car. I don't know who he is." My stomach twisted. "Ma, should I? Get to the backyard now. Take that bucket with you. If he asks for you, you went to the market. Do you understand me?" "Yes, Ma. And Praise?" I stopped at the door. "If I call you, don't come out until I call you twice. Do you hear me?" "Yes, Ma." I grabbed the bucket and moved quickly through the corridor. The same corridor I used to run through as a child, laughing, free. Now I moved through it like a shadow, like something that needed to be hidden. My stepsister Mercy was sitting in the parlour, painting her nails bright red. She looked up as I passed, her eyes blank and indifferent, like I was nothing more than furniture being moved from one room to another. I pushed through the back door and stepped into the heat of the backyard. The boys' quarters stood there, its zinc roof glinting under the sun. That was where I lived now. Not in the main house. Not in my father's house. In the servants' quarters, like someone who didn't belong. I set the bucket down and pressed myself against the wall, trying to catch my breath. Through the gaps in the wooden fence I could see the black car pulling up to the gate. It was sleek, expensive looking, not the kind of car that usually came to this house. A man stepped out. He was tall, wore a crisp blue shirt tucked into black trousers. He carried a brown envelope under his arm. He walked like someone who knew exactly why he was there and wouldn't be easily dismissed. My stepmother appeared at the front door, that practiced smile already stretched across her face. The smile she saved for church members and important visitors. The smile that made her look like she was someone kind, someone generous, someone who would never lock a girl in the backyard while guests came to call. "Good afternoon, sir. You are welcome. Please come inside." The man nodded politely but didn't return the smile. "Good afternoon, madam. I'm looking for Mrs. Comfort. Mrs. Comfort Joseph." "That's me, sir. Please come in. Come and sit down. Thank you." They disappeared inside. I pressed my ear closer to the gap in the wall, straining to hear their voices. My hands were shaking. I didn't know why. Visitors came all the time, church people, business associates, her friends from the market, and every single time, without fail, I was sent away. But something about this felt different. Something about the way that man looked around before entering the house, something about the envelope he carried, something about my stepmother's voice, which was a little too bright, a little too eager. I heard the scrape of chairs, the sound of someone sitting down. Then the man spoke, his voice clear and steady. "Mrs. Comfort, I was sent here by someone. Someone who's been looking for a young woman named Praise Joseph." The silence that followed was so thick I could feel it even through the wall. My heart stopped. Someone was looking for me. I need to tell you how I got here, how I became the girl in the backyard, the girl who was sent away when visitors came, the girl who washed floors and cooked meals and slept in the boys' quarters like a housemaid in her own father's house. But I can't start from the middle. I have to start from the beginning. From when I was still Praise Joseph, daughter of Joseph and Grace, the girl who had a future, a family, a home. I was 18 when everything changed. We lived in a yellow house in Surrey, the kind of house that wasn't too big but wasn't too small either. 3 bedrooms, a small parlour, a kitchen that always smelled like my mother's cooking. There was a mango tree in the compound, old and thick, with branches that stretched over the roof like protective arms. My mother used to sit under that tree every evening after she came back from her shop. She sold fabrics, George and lace, beautiful materials that women bought for weddings and special occasions. She would sit there, fanning herself with an old newspaper, counting the day's earnings while my father sat beside her, reading the Punch newspaper and making small comments about politics. They were happy, not in a loud, showy way, but in the quiet way that comes from years of knowing someone. My father worked as an accountant for a construction company in Victoria Island. He left early every morning and came back late every evening, his shirt always stained with sweat, his briefcase heavy with files. But no matter how tired he was, he always asked me about school. "Praise, how was your day? Did you understand the mathematics teacher? Are you ready for your exams?" I had just finished secondary school. I was preparing for Jam B. I wanted to study law. I wanted to be a lawyer, to stand in court and fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves. My father said I had the kind of sharp tongue that could win any argument. My mother said I had the kind of heart that wouldn't let me rest until justice was done. I believed them. I believed in the future they painted for me. I believed I would go to university, get my degree, make them proud. I didn't know that in a few months that future would be taken away from me. I didn't know that I would lose everything. My mother, my father's strength, my home, myself. It started on a Friday night. My parents had gone to a night vigil at church. It wasn't even their church. It was the church of a family friend, Sister Eunice. Her mother had just died, and they were holding an all-night service. My mother insisted they had to go and pay their respects. "Sister Eunice has been good to us," she said as she tied her wrapper that evening. "When your father was sick 2 years ago, she brought food to this house every day. We have to be there for her now." I was sitting at the dining table studying. "Will you come back tonight?" "No, we'll probably stay till morning. These vigils, you know how they are. Will you be okay by yourself?" "Yes, Ma. I'll lock the doors." My father came out of the bedroom, buttoning his shirt. He looked tired already. He worked 6 days a week and barely had time to rest. But he never said no when my mother wanted to go somewhere. "Praise, there's rice in the pot if you're hungry," my mother said. "Don't stay up too late. You need to sleep." "Yes, Ma." She kissed my forehead. Her lips were warm and soft. She smelled like cocoa butter and the palm oil she used for cooking. "We'll see you in the morning, okay?" "Okay, Ma." That was the last time I spoke to my mother. The phone call came at 2:30 in the morning. I was asleep, curled up on the couch with my textbook still open on my lap. The sound of my father's phone ringing woke me up. I stumbled to their bedroom, searching for it in the dark. When I finally found it on the bedside table, the screen said Sister Eunice. I answered. "Hello? Praise?" Her voice was shaking so badly I almost didn't recognize it. "Yes, it's me. Sister Eunice, what's wrong?" "Praise, you need to come to Lagos General Hospital now. Right now." My blood went cold. "What happened?" "There was an accident. Your parents, the car. Praise, just come. Please." The phone slipped from my hand. I don't remember getting dressed. I don't remember leaving the house or locking the door. I don't remember the Okada ride to the hospital or how much I paid the driver. Everything was a blur of panic and prayer and the sound of my own voice saying, "Please, God, please, please, please." When I got to the hospital, Sister Eunice was standing outside the emergency ward. Her wrapper was stained with something dark. Her eyes were red and swollen. She saw me and her face crumpled. That was when I knew. "Praise." Her voice broke. "I'm so sorry. Your mother, she didn't make it." The ground disappeared beneath me. "What?" "The doctors tried. They tried everything. But she was gone before we even got here." "No." My voice didn't sound like my own. "No, that's not true. Where is she? I want to see her." "Praise, where is she?" Sister Eunice took my hand, her grip tight and desperate. "Your father is alive. He's in surgery now. But Praise, he's badly injured. You need to be strong." I pulled away from her and ran into the hospital. A nurse tried to stop me, but I pushed past her. I ran down the corridor, looking into every room, every ward, searching for my mother's face. I found her in a small room at the end of the hall. She was lying on a bed, covered with a white sheet up to her shoulders. Her eyes were closed. She looked like she was sleeping. I walked over to her slowly, my legs shaking so badly I almost fell. "Mama!" My voice came out in a whisper. "Mama, wake up!" She didn't move. I touched her hand. It was cold. "Mama, please, wake up. We need to go home." Nothing. I shook her shoulder gently, then harder. Then I was screaming, pulling at her, begging her to open her eyes, to say something, to move, to breathe. 2 nurses came and pulled me away. I fought them. I screamed until my throat was raw. I screamed until I couldn't breathe. I screamed until everything went black. When I woke up, I was lying on a bench in the hospital corridor. Sister Eunice was sitting beside me, holding my hand. The sun was coming up through the windows, pale and weak. "Your father is out of surgery," she said quietly. "The doctors say he'll live. But praise, his spine is damaged. They don't know if he'll ever walk again." I stared at the ceiling. I couldn't feel anything anymore. It was like something inside me had shut down completely. "I need to see him," I said. "Not yet. He's still unconscious. The doctor said maybe later today." "Okay. Praise, about your mother. We need to start making arrangements for the burial. Do you have family we can call? Relatives?" I thought about my grandmother, my mother's mother. She had been living in England for the past 5 years, working as a nurse. We spoke to her sometimes on the phone, but not often. International calls were expensive. "My grandmother, she's in England. Do you have her number?" "It's in my father's phone, but I don't know where his phone is. I'll ask the nurses. Don't worry, we'll find it." She squeezed my hand. "I'm so sorry, Praise. Your mother was a good woman, the best." I nodded. I couldn't speak anymore. If I opened my mouth, I would start screaming again, and I didn't think I'd be able to stop. They let me see my father that evening. He was in a private ward, lying flat on his back, tubes and wires connected to his arms and chest. His eyes were open, but he wasn't really seeing anything. He was staring at the ceiling like he was looking for something he'd lost. "Daddy?" I stood by the door, afraid to come closer. His eyes shifted slowly toward me. It took him a moment to focus. When he finally recognized me, something broke in his face. "Praise." His voice was barely a whisper. I walked over to him and took his hand. It was warm, thank God. Warm and alive. "Daddy, I'm here, your mother." His voice cracked. "They told me. They said she's gone." "Yes, Daddy." A tear slid down the side of his face. Just one. Then he closed his eyes and turned his head away from me. "I should have driven slower," he whispered. "I should have seen the trailer. I should have—" "Daddy, it wasn't your fault. She's gone because of me." "No, Daddy, no. It was an accident." He didn't respond. He just lay there, silent and broken, staring at nothing. The funeral was 2 weeks later. The doctors released my father's body to us even though he was still in the hospital. He couldn't attend. He couldn't even sit up. The church was full of people. My mother's friends from the market, my father's colleagues from work, our neighbours, Sister Eunice and her family. Everyone crying, everyone saying how sorry they were, how good my mother was, how unfair life could be. I sat in the front row, wearing a black dress someone had bought for me. I don't remember who. I don't remember much from that day at all. Just the sound of the pastor's voice, the smell of flowers, the weight of people's hands on my shoulders as they hugged me and told me to be strong. I wasn't strong. I was empty. They lowered my mother into the ground while someone sang "Abide with Me." I watched the red earth swallow the coffin and I thought, this is it. This is how it ends. One moment you're alive, sitting under a mango tree, counting money and laughing. The next moment you're gone. Just gone. After the burial, Sister Eunice took me back to the hospital. My father was still staring at the ceiling. "Daddy, we buried Mama today." He didn't say anything. Everyone came. The church was full. She would have liked that. "Nothing. Daddy, please, talk to me." He closed his eyes. "I'm tired, Praise. I'm very tired." "I know. Just rest. I'll be here." But he wasn't talking about physical tiredness. I realize that now. He was tired of living, tired of breathing, tired of existing in a world where he couldn't walk, couldn't work, couldn't protect his family. He was already giving up, and I didn't even know it. My father came home 3 months later. The doctors said there was nothing more they could do for him. His spine was permanently damaged. He would never walk again. They taught me how to change his catheter, how to move him without hurting him, how to watch for bed sores. I was 18 years old, and suddenly I was a nurse, a cook, a cleaner, a caregiver. I bathed my father, I fed him, I helped him to the toilet. I changed his sheets when he couldn't hold it in time. And every night I cried myself to sleep, begging God to give me strength I didn't have. My father barely spoke. Some days he wouldn't say a single word. He would just lie there staring at the ceiling, tears sliding silently down his face. I tried everything to reach him. I brought him his favourite food. I read him the newspaper. I told him about my jambi preparations, about how I was going to make him proud, about how everything would be okay. But he was already gone. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally. He had left me long before his body gave up. 3 months after he came home, he called me into his room. It was late evening. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the walls. "Praise, sit down." I sat on the edge of his bed. "Yes, Daddy?" "I've been thinking." His voice was quiet, flat. "This is too much for you. You're just a girl. You shouldn't be doing this." "Daddy, I don't mind. I can manage." "No." He shook his head slowly. "No, you can't. You're supposed to be in school. You're supposed to be living your life, not taking care of an old man who can't even stand up." "You're not old, and I don't care about school right now. You're more important." "That's the problem, Praise. I'm not more important. Your future is more important. Your education, your life." I felt my chest tighten. "What are you saying?" He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I'm getting married." The words hit me like cold water. "What?" "There's a woman from church, Sister Comfort. You know her." I did know her. She was a widow, a nurse who sometimes came to pray with my father. She was polite, professional, nothing more. "She agreed to marry me," my father continued. "She'll take care of me, and you can go to school. You can live your life." "Daddy, no. I don't want you to marry someone just because... It's already decided, Praise. But, please." He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw the desperation in his eyes. The shame, the guilt. "Please don't fight me on this. I need help, and I can't keep watching you sacrifice yourself for me." I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him that I didn't need anyone else, that we could do this together, that we didn't need this Sister Comfort or anyone. But I saw the look on his face, the brokenness, the defeat. So I swallowed my words and nodded. "Okay, Daddy." Sister Comfort moved into our house 2 months later. She brought her daughter with her, a girl named Mercy who was 16, quiet and shy. Mercy didn't talk much. She spent most of her time in her room or watching TV. Sister Comfort was efficient. That was the word that came to mind when I watched her. She wasn't warm or affectionate, but she was capable. She knew how to care for my father. She changed his catheter without flinching. She gave him his medication on time. She cooked nutritious meals and made sure he ate every bite. And slowly, I was relieved of my duties. At first, I was grateful. I could finally sleep through the night. I could study for jam. I could breathe. But then I started to notice things. Small things. The way Sister Comfort looked at me when my father wasn't watching, like she was measuring me, calculating something. The way she rearranged the house, moving my mother's things into storage without asking me first. The way she started calling my father my husband, even though they'd only been married for 3 weeks. I told myself I was being paranoid. She was helping us. That was enough. I should be grateful. So I ignored the warning signs. I ignored the small voice in my head that said something was wrong. I didn't know then that my father would die. I didn't know that Sister Comfort would outlive him. I didn't know that everything he owned, everything my mother had worked for, would fall into her hands. And I didn't know that I would become a stranger in my own home. My father lasted 2 more years. The doctor said he was healing. Slowly, yes, but healing. His body was responding to the medication. The wounds were closing, the infections were clearing up, but his mind never healed. He stopped asking about my jam results. He stopped asking about anything. He would just lie there, day after day, staring at nothing. Sister Comfort said it was depression. She said it was normal for people in his condition. She said we just needed to give him time. But time didn't help. He just retreated further and further into himself until one day he didn't come back. I went to check on him one morning and found him lying with his eyes open, breathing softly. But when I said his name, he didn't respond. When I touched his hand, he didn't squeeze back. He was alive, but he wasn't there anymore. He died 2 days later. Peacefully, the doctor said, like he just decided to stop fighting. I was 20 years old. My jam results had just come out. I had scored 287. I had been offered admission to study law at the University of Lagos. The letter was sitting on my table when they told me my father was dead. I held that letter in my hand during the funeral. I held it while they lowered him into the ground right next to my mother. I held it while people came up to me and said, "Sorry, Pole, take heart, God knows best." I held it and thought, what's the point? What's the point of any of this? The admission letter sat on my table for 2 weeks. I didn't tell anyone about it. Not Sister Comfort, not Mercy, not anyone. I was afraid. I knew that school fees were expensive. I knew that my father's account had been used for medical bills. I knew there wasn't much left, but I had to try. One evening, I found Sister Comfort in the kitchen, frying plantain. The smell filled the house, warm and familiar. For a moment, I felt like a child again, coming home from school to the smell of my mother's cooking, but my mother was gone, and this woman was not her. "Ma?" I stood in the doorway, clutching the admission letter. "Yes, Praise?" She didn't turn around. "I wanted to talk to you about something." "I'm listening. I got admission to study law at UNLAG." She stopped stirring just for a second, then she continued. "That's good. Congratulations." "Thank you, Ma." I took a breath. "The thing is, I need to pay school fees. I was hoping, I know Daddy left some money. I was thinking maybe, there's no money, Praise." My heart sank. "What?" "Your father's money. It's finished. We used it for the hospital bills, the medications, the funeral, everything." "But Ma," I thought, "didn't he have savings? Didn't he have—" She turned around then, her face calm and unreadable. "Praise, do you think I'm lying to you?" "No, Ma. Your father left everything to me. The house, the bank account, everything. It's in his will. You can go and check if you don't believe me." I felt the floor shift beneath me. "But Ma, I need to go to school. I can't." "And what do you want me to do?" Her voice was sharp now. "Sell the house so you can go to university. Where will Mercy and I live? On the street?" "I'm not saying that. I just thought. Mercy also needs school fees, you know. I can't pay for two people. You're not the only one with needs." The words hit me like a slap. "Praise, you're 20 years old. You're an adult. It's time you start taking responsibility for yourself. I've done my part. I took care of your father when no one else would. I stayed with him till the end. Don't stand here now and ask me for money I don't have." I opened my mouth, but no words came out. She turned back to her frying pan. "If you want to go to school, you'll have to find a way yourself. Maybe you can get a job. Save small, or maybe you can ask one of your father's relatives to help you." My father's relatives, the same ones who had disappeared after the funeral, the same ones who hadn't called or visited or sent a single naira to help. I stood there, frozen, the admission letter crumpling in my hand. "Is that all?" Sister Comfort asked without looking at me. "Yes, Ma." I turned and walked away. I thought about my grandmother, my mother's mother, the one who had gone to England, the one who used to send money for my father's treatment, the one who had stopped calling after he died. I didn't have her number. I didn't even know her address. All I knew was that she was somewhere in London, working as a nurse. I thought about calling the international operator, trying to track her down somehow, but I didn't even know where to start, so I stayed. I stayed because I had nowhere else to go. I stayed because I had no money. I stayed because I was tired and scared and alone. And that was when everything changed. It started slowly, little things. Sister Comfort stopped calling me my daughter. She just called me Praise. Then she stopped calling me anything at all. She would just point or snap her fingers when she wanted me. The chores increased. Wash the plates, sweep the parlour, mop the floors, go to the market, cook the food, wash the clothes. Mercy stopped doing anything. She would eat and leave her plate on the table. I would wash it. She would drop her clothes on the floor. I would pick them up. She would call for water. I would bring it. And Sister Comfort never corrected her. Then the food changed. Sister Comfort and Mercy started eating together in the parlour, watching TV while they ate rice and chicken, plantain and fish. I ate in the kitchen, alone. After they were finished, whatever was left. Then the sleeping arrangement changed. Sister Comfort said Mercy needed her own room, a bigger space, more privacy. "You don't mind moving to the boys' quarters, do you, Praise? It's just temporary, until we can arrange something better." It wasn't temporary. I moved my things into that small room in the backyard, a mattress on the floor, a broken fan, a cracked mirror, a bucket for bathing. That was my home now. And slowly, step by step, day by day, I stopped being a daughter in my father's house. I became the maid. The first time a visitor came and I was sent away, I didn't understand what was happening. It was a woman from church, one of the prayer warriors who used to come and pray for my father. She knocked on the door one Saturday afternoon, and Sister Comfort called me from the backyard where I was washing clothes. "Praise, come here." I wiped my hands and hurried inside. "Yes, Ma?" "Go to the backyard." "Now." I blinked. "But Ma, I need to finish washing." I said go. Her voice was ice. I went. I stood behind the kitchen door, listening to them talk and laugh about God and blessings and answered prayers. I heard the woman say, "Sister Comfort, you are a good woman. Taking care of your husband like that, God will bless you." And Sister Comfort said, "It's nothing, it's my duty. That's what marriage is about." She didn't mention me. Not once. It was like I didn't exist. When the woman left, Sister Comfort called me back inside. She didn't explain, she didn't apologize, she just said, "You can continue with the washing now." That was the first time. It happened again the next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Church members, business associates, old friends of my father. Every single time I was sent away, and every single time I felt a piece of myself disappear. 1 year passed, then 2, then 3. I was 23 years old, and I had never left that house. I woke up every morning at 5. I swept the compound, I fetched water, I cooked breakfast, I served Sister Comfort and Mercy. I ate whatever was left. I washed their plates. I cleaned their rooms. I washed their clothes. I had become invisible. Some days I would stand in front of the cracked mirror in my room and stare at my reflection. I looked older, tired. There were lines around my eyes that hadn't been there before. My hands were rough from washing and scrubbing. My back ached from bending over the firewood stove. I didn't recognize myself anymore, but I didn't know how to leave. Where would I go? I had no money, no relatives, no friends. I had become so isolated that I didn't even know how to talk to people anymore. And then one afternoon, everything changed. I was washing the parlor floor, scrubbing the tiles on my hands and knees, when Sister Comfort's voice cut through the house. "Praise! Praise! Come here now!" I stood up, wiping my wet hands on my wrapper. She was standing by the window, looking outside. Her face was tense. "Someone is coming. A man in a black car." My heart started pounding. "Ma, should I? Get to the backyard. Take that bucket with you. If he asks for you, tell him you went to the market." "But, Ma..." "Did you hear what I said?" "Yes, Ma." "Then move." I grabbed the bucket and hurried through the corridor. Mercy was sitting in the parlor, painting her nails. She glanced at me, bored and indifferent, then looked away. I pushed through the back door and stepped into the heat. My hands were shaking. I didn't know why. Through the fence, I saw the black car pull up. A tall man stepped out, wearing a blue shirt and black trousers. He looked serious, professional, like someone who had come for something important. Sister Comfort appeared at the door, that practiced smile already on her face. "Good afternoon, sir. You are welcome. Please, come inside." The man nodded. "Good afternoon, madam. I'm looking for Mrs. Comfort Joseph." "That's me, sir. Please, sit down." I pressed my ear against the wall, trying to hear. Their voices were muffled at first. Then the man said something that made my heart stop. "I was sent here by someone who's been looking for a young woman named Praise. Praise Joseph." The silence that followed was so heavy I could feel it pressing against my chest. Someone was looking for me. After all these years, after all this time, someone remembered I existed. Inside the house, Sister Comfort's voice was too bright, too eager. "Praise? Oh yes, she's my stepdaughter, but I'm afraid she's not here right now. She went to the market. She'll be back later." "I see." The man's voice was calm. "When will she be back?" "Oh, I don't know. Maybe in an hour or two. You know how markets are, crowded. It takes time. I'll wait." Silence again. "Sir, may I ask who sent you? Why are you looking for Praise?" "I was sent by her grandmother, Mrs. Patience." My breath caught in my throat. My grandmother. Her grandmother? Sister Comfort's voice was tight now. I didn't know she had a grandmother. "She does. Mrs. Patience recently returned to Nigeria from England. She's been trying to locate her granddaughter for several months now." "I see. Well, as I said, Praise is not here right now, but you can tell her grandmother that she's fine. She's well taken care of. I'd like to see her myself." "Of course, but she's not. I'll wait." I heard footsteps. Sister Comfort was pacing. I could feel her panic even through the wall. Then Mercy's voice, young and confused. "Mummy, who is that man?" "Shh! Go to your room." "But Mummy, I said go!" More footsteps. Then the man's voice again, firm and unyielding. "Mrs. Comfort, while I wait, I'd like to see the house. I'd like to see where Praise lives." "Why would you need to see that?" "Her grandmother wants to know her living conditions. She lives fine. Like I said, she's well taken care of." Then it shouldn't be a problem to show me. Long, heavy silence. Then Sister Comfort's voice, sharp and cold. Fine, follow me. My whole body went numb. He was coming to the backyard. He was going to see where I lived. He was going to see the truth. I looked around the small room, the mattress on the floor, the bucket, the pile of clothes in the corner, the cracked walls, the broken fan. This was my life. And now someone was going to see it. I didn't know whether to feel ashamed or relieved. The door opened. Sister Comfort stood there, her face a mask of forced calm. Behind her was the man in the blue shirt. His eyes moved slowly across the room, taking everything in. The mattress, the bucket, the clothes, the zinc roof with its rusted holes. He turned to Sister Comfort. His voice was quiet but hard. This is the boys' quarters. Yes. And Praise sleeps here. Yes. Where does your daughter sleep? Sister Comfort hesitated. In the main house. In which room? Another pause. In Praise's former room. The man nodded slowly. Then he turned to me. What's your name? My voice came out small and broken. Praise. Praise Joseph? Yes, sir. Your father was Joseph, the accountant? Yes, sir. And your mother was Grace? Yes, sir. And you live here in this room? I nodded, unable to speak. Do you go to school? I shook my head. Why not? Sister Comfort cut in quickly. She chose not to go. I offered to help her, but she said she wasn't ready. She wanted to stay home. The man looked at her. Then he looked at me. His eyes were gentle but searching. Is that true, Praise? I opened my mouth. I wanted to tell him everything. I wanted to scream the truth, but my voice wouldn't come. Years of silence had stolen it from me. The man waited. When I didn't answer, he nodded slowly. It's okay. You don't have to say anything right now. He turned to Sister Comfort. I'll be leaving, but I'll be back with her grandmother. Sister Comfort's face went pale. Sir, there's really no need. Mrs. Comfort. His voice was steel now. Praise is hidden in the backyard when visitors come. She's sleeping in the boys' quarters while your daughter sleeps in the main house. She's not in school, even though her father wanted her to study law. She's 23 years old, and she looks like she hasn't seen the inside of a classroom in years. He paused. Mrs. Comfort, I don't think we have the same definition of well taken care of. He walked out without waiting for a response. Sister Comfort stood there, frozen. Her face had gone from pale to red. Her hands were shaking. She turned to look at me, and for the first time in 3 years I saw something in her eyes that wasn't indifference or irritation. I saw fear. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something. Then she closed it again. She turned and walked out, slamming the door behind her. I stood there in the silence, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would break through my chest. My grandmother was looking for me. My grandmother had come back. I wasn't forgotten. That night, everything changed. Sister Comfort came to my room after dinner. She knocked softly on the door, something she had never done before. When I opened it, she was standing there with a plate of rice and chicken. Praise, you haven't eaten. I stared at the plate. There was actual meat on it, not just bones, actual pieces of chicken. I'm not hungry, Ma. You need to eat. You're looking thin. I almost laughed. For 3 years she had watched me eat scraps and leftovers without a word. Now suddenly she was concerned about my weight. Thank you, Ma, but I'm fine. She didn't leave. She just stood there holding the plate, her face twisted with something that might have been guilt or might have been panic. Praise about that man who came today. What about him? You didn't say anything to him, did you? I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who had taken everything from me. My home, my education, my dignity, my identity. No, Ma, I didn't say anything. She let out a breath. Good, good. Because you know, sometimes people come here asking questions. They want to cause trouble. They want to destroy what we've built here. But we're a family, aren't we? We should protect each other. A family. The word felt like acid on my tongue. Yes, Ma. And Praise, I've been thinking, maybe it's time for you to move back into the main house. You can share a room with Mercy. It's not good for you to be out here alone. 3 years. 3 years I had been sleeping in this room, and now suddenly it wasn't good for me to be alone. It's okay, Ma. I'm used to it here. No, no, I insist. We'll move your things tomorrow and Praise? Yes, Ma. About school. Maybe we can talk about it. Maybe we can find a way. I know your father wanted you to study. Maybe we can look into evening classes or something. I felt something cold settle in my chest. She was scared. The man's visit had terrified her, and now she was trying to fix everything overnight, trying to erase 3 years of cruelty with one plate of chicken and empty promises. But it was too late. "Thank you, Ma, but I'm very tired. Can we talk about it tomorrow?" Of course. Get some rest." She left the plate on the floor and walked away. I didn't touch the food. I just sat on my mattress, staring at the wall, waiting for morning. The next 2 days were strange. Sister Comfort moved my things back into the main house. Not into my old room that still belonged to Mercy, but into a smaller room that used to be a store. She cleared it out, put in a proper bed, even hung a curtain on the window. She stopped sending me to the backyard when people visited. She started calling me Praise again instead of just pointing. Mercy looked confused by all of it. She kept watching me with suspicious eyes, like I had done something wrong, like I had betrayed them somehow. But I hadn't done anything. I had just existed. And for the first time in 3 years, someone had seen me. On the 3rd day, the man came back. I was sweeping the parlour when I heard the car pull up. My heart jumped into my throat. Sister Comfort heard it too. She came rushing out of the kitchen, smoothing down her wrapper, checking her hair. But this time she didn't send me away. "Praise, go and get dressed. Wear something nice, quickly." I ran to my new room and changed into the best dress I owned. It was old, faded, but it was clean. I combed my hair. I looked at myself in the small mirror on the wall. I looked terrified. When I came back to the parlour, Sister Comfort was already at the door. The man was there, the same one from before. But he wasn't alone. Behind him was a woman. She was tall, elegant, wearing a blue wrapper and a white blouse. Her hair was grey, pulled back into a neat bun. She had a face that was both stern and gentle, like someone who had seen hardship but hadn't let it make her cruel. She looked at me, and her eyes filled with tears. "Praise?" I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I just stood there, staring at this woman who looked familiar and strange at the same time. "It's me," she said softly. "It's your grandmother. It's Patience." And then I remembered. I remembered her voice. The voice that used to sing to me when I was small. The voice that told me stories about her village, about how she grew up farming cassava and climbing trees. The voice that called me my jewel because she said I was precious and rare. "Grandma?" She smiled and the tears spilled down her face. "Yes, my jewel. It's me." I didn't remember moving. I didn't remember crossing the room. But suddenly I was in her arms and she was holding me tight, and I was crying so hard I couldn't breathe. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm here now. I'm so sorry I wasn't here before. But I'm here now." I couldn't stop crying. 3 years of silence, 3 years of swallowing my pain, 3 years of pretending I didn't exist. It all came pouring out in those tears. My grandmother held me and rocked me like I was a child again. Behind us, Sister Comfort stood in the doorway, her face pale and frozen. The man stepped forward, holding a brown envelope. "Mrs. Comfort, this is for you." She took it with shaking hands. "What is this?" "It's a letter from Mrs. Patience's lawyer. It explains the legal situation regarding this house and Mr. Joseph's estate." Sister Comfort opened the envelope and pulled out several sheets of paper. Her eyes moved across the words, and with each line her face grew paler. This says the house belongs to Praise." "Yes, but that's not possible. My husband left everything to me. I have a will. You have a forged will," the man said calmly. "Mr. Joseph made a will before he married you. Everything was left to his daughter Praise. Your will was created after his death, and it's not legally valid. We have the original document. We have witnesses. We have proof." Sister Comfort's hands started shaking so badly the papers fell to the floor. But I took care of him. I stayed with him. "And you were compensated for that care," my grandmother said. Her voice was firm but not unkind. "Joseph paid you. He gave you a place to live. He made sure you and your daughter had food and shelter. But this house was never yours. It belonged to his daughter. It still does." Sister Comfort looked at me. For the first time, I saw her clearly. Not as a monster. Not as an evil stepmother. Just as a woman who had been afraid. Afraid of losing everything. Afraid of being left with nothing. Afraid that if she didn't grab and hold and take, she would end up on the street. Her fear had made her cruel, and her cruelty had almost destroyed me. "How long do I have?" Her voice was barely a whisper. 30 days, the man said. You have 30 days to find another place to live." Mercy appeared in the hallway, her eyes wide with confusion and fear. "Mummy, what's happening? Why is everyone crying?" Sister Comfort didn't answer. She just stood there, staring at the papers on the floor, her whole world crumbling around her. My grandmother's voice was gentle but firm. "Comfort, you did wrong. You took advantage of a grieving man and his daughter. You stole what wasn't yours. But I'm not going to destroy you. 30 days is more than enough time to find a place. That's more grace than you gave this child." Sister Comfort looked up, her eyes meeting my grandmother's. For a moment, something passed between them, an understanding, a recognition. Then she bent down, picked up the papers, and walked into her room without another word. The next few weeks passed like a dream. My grandmother took me to her house in Lecky. It was beautiful, not big and showy, but comfortable, safe. There was a small garden with flowers, a gate with security, windows with real curtains. She had a spare room that she said was mine, a real room with a real bed and a real wardrobe. She helped me unpack the few things I owned, and when she saw how little I had, she cried again. "I should have come sooner," she kept saying. "I should have known. I should have checked. You're here now, Grandma. That's what matters." She told me everything. How she had left Nigeria 5 years before my mother died. How she went to England to work as a nurse because the pay was better and she wanted to save money for our family. How she used to call every month, but after my mother's accident, my father stopped answering. "I thought he was angry with me," she said. "I thought he blamed me for not being here when Grace died. So I just kept sending money and hoping he would forgive me eventually." He wasn't angry, Grandma. He was just broken. I know that now, but I should have tried harder. I should have come back and checked on you. She explained how she finally retired and returned to Nigeria 2 months ago. How she went to the house and found strangers living there. How she asked the neighbours what had happened, and they told her about Sister Comfort and how I had been turned into a housemaid in my own father's house. "I was so angry," she said. "So angry I could barely think straight. But I knew I had to be smart about it. So I hired a lawyer. We found your father's original will. We gathered evidence, and then I sent Mr. Emmanuel to find you and see if what the neighbours said was true." Mr. Emmanuel. That was the name of the man in the blue shirt. The man who had come looking for me. The man who had saved my life without even knowing it. "I want to thank him," I said. "You will. He's coming for dinner tomorrow. He wants to make sure you're okay." That evening, my grandmother and I sat in the garden as the sun went down. The air was cool and sweet, and for the first time in years I felt like I could breathe. "Grandma, what's going to happen to Sister Comfort and Mercy?" Well, she was quiet for a moment. "They'll have to find somewhere else to live. I've heard Sister Comfort has family in Ikotun. She'll probably go there." "And Mercy? Mercy will be fine. She's young. She'll adjust." I felt a strange twist in my chest. I feel bad for her. She didn't do anything wrong. She just followed her mother. My grandmother looked at me with something like pride in her eyes. "You have a good heart, Praise. After everything they did to you, you still have compassion. That's your mother in you. That's grace. I don't want to be like Sister Comfort. I don't want bitterness to make me cruel. Then don't let it. Choose to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free." We sat in silence for a while, watching the sky turn from orange to purple to dark blue. "Grandma? Yes, my jewel? What about school? What about my admission? It's been 3 years. I don't know if they'll still take me." She smiled. "Don't worry about that. We'll figure it out. Maybe you'll have to reapply. Maybe you'll have to start fresh. But you will go to school, Praise. You will study law. You will become everything your parents dreamed you would be. I promise you that." I believed her. For the first time in years, I believed in my future again. Mr. Emmanuel came for dinner the next evening. He was kind, soft-spoken, and professional. He worked as an estate lawyer, helping people settle inheritance disputes. "Your grandmother was very determined," he said with a small smile. "She came to my office and wouldn't leave until I agreed to take the case. She said her granddaughter was in trouble and she needed help immediately." My grandmother laughed. "I wasn't going to let any lawyer tell me to wait. My granddaughter had already waited long enough." We ate jollof rice and chicken, and for the first time in years, I ate until I was full. I didn't have to wait for anyone to finish first. I didn't have to eat scraps. I was part of the family again. After dinner, Mr. Emmanuel gave me some advice. Praise. You've been through something very difficult, something that would break most people. But you survived. And now you have a choice. You can let what happened to you define you, or you can use it to fuel you. You can become bitter, or you can become better. I want to be better, I said. Then study hard, become a lawyer. Help people like yourself, people who've been cheated and abused and forgotten. Give them a voice, give them justice. I will, I promised. I will. Sister Comfort and Mercy moved out exactly 29 days later. I didn't go to see them leave. My grandmother said it was better that way, less painful for everyone. If you enjoy African folktales like this, please subscribe now so you do not miss the next story.